We're up.
We are. Okay, I don't
Yeah.
see the live thing. But hey, welcome, hideous, toxic waste mutants, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
And tonight we continue our look back at summer movies that are way better than they had any right to be.
Well, better than they had any right to.
All right. Well, I think our opinions on how great this movie are going to vary.
Yeah.
Last week we did The Mummy. This week we are doing 1987's RoboCop.
Right.
Everything about this movie should have failed horribly, from the title to the janky special effects. But you know, the thing is that this movie, oddly, for an ultra-violent crime thriller, has a lot of heart, oddly.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
All right. I'll give you that.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that just, like, I don't know, there's just something so just enjoyable about this movie, even though it's dark and dank and everything. There's just so much to enjoy about it. And it really just comes down to the fact that it's an ultra-violent cop thriller.
Yeah. Yes. Directed by Paul Verhoeven.
Yes, exactly. I think this was his first American film.
Ooh,
I'm taking a look right now. So Paul Verhoeven.
Well, so am I.
Okay, so his first film. Let's wait for IMDb to load up here.
Well, I mean, there was. I think his first film might have been Flesh and Blood, 1985.
Oh, I'm going even further back than that. I mean, we're looking at a number of films that he directed, like for TV and everything. So he's been around forever, at least in Germany.
Yeah, but I think but Flesh and Blood he directed in 1985. That one had Rutger Hauer, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Bruno Kirby, Jack Thompson. So that seems like it was his first American movie.
Yeah, he also did a movie called The Fourth Man, which came out in '83. I think this is the first thing that wasn't a major U.S. release that I saw him in.
Yeah, it was,
that I saw him do.
Yeah, that was very much a Dutch movie, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was definitely not an American movie. But it was interesting, to say the least. But this is really where Verhoeven cut his teeth.
Yeah.
This is the one, honestly, I think out of his entire filmography, this is going to be the one he's remembered for.
I would say it's probably going to be his, maybe not his biggest hit, but his probably most well-known hit.
I think more so than, say, Total Recall, which is, again, a lot of fun, and Starship Troopers.
Right. Which is what it is.
It is what it is. Yes, he also directed Basic Instinct as well, which is what it is. Oh, he also did Showgirls too. So let's not forget that one. Never thought I'd get so bored with seeing naked breasts on the big screen as fast as I did with Showgirls.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about RoboCop, a movie where you could tell where the money went because it all went into that suit.
Yeah.
And
to a lesser extent, what was it? Was it Phil Tippett that did the stop motion effects?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while they look like stop motion effects, the Ed 209 definitely doesn't look like it exists on this plane of reality.
Right.
There's just something about it that I don't mind. I mean, with stop motion in a live action movie is going to look like stop motion no matter what. I don't care how talented you are. Ray Harryhausen's stuff looked like stop motion back in the 60s and even up towards Clash of the Titans. It looked like stop motion, but you just didn't care.
Yeah, and when you did have like that life-size model on the set with the actors, it was impressive looking.
Yeah. What's interesting about that scene in particular, the introduction of the Ed 209, is that at the time, I think it was and I saw the R-rated theatrical version because I actually saw this in the movie theater. It was pretty brutal for 87
Yeah.
for that scene, which got cut. But the version you watched is the unrated version of it.
Oh, so the one on Amazon was unrated?
I believe it is, yeah. Other than that, are they just like, it's violence? Why are we getting so upset about violence? Because that dude was a blood sprinkler by the end of that.
Yeah, I did love, well, like, somebody get an ambulance up here. Like, what's an ambulance going to do?
Right, exactly.
I think we're long past that point at this moment.
Right. But I love that, like, Ronnie Cox's Dick Jones is just like, it's a, it just suffered a glitch.
Yeah, Ronnie Cox playing the same over-the-top, scene-chewing villain in a suit that he plays in pretty much everything he's in.
Well, especially the Verhoeven stuff, because remember, he's Kohauser in Total Recall. You haven't seen Total Recall?
No, I haven't.
Oh, shit.
I read the book.
Okay. I wish it was on a streaming service that we subscribe to, because that's my dehumidifier.
Oh, I thought someone had fired a 219 at you.
No, exactly. Hey, all I have to do is get up the stairs and I'm fine.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so brilliant, and we laughed so hard. I always get a chuckle out of that too, because it's just like it's a mindless killing machine, but it really hates to admit that it has faults.
Yeah, it falls down there. It just starts thrashing right in. I'm fairly certain they literally mix in a baby crying in there.
I think so. But yeah, I mean, Dick Jones is he's fantastic, just like that corporate asshole. But I love the fact that anytime anybody calls him Dick, it just gets under his skin. Because everybody hates him. Yeah. And he knows that everybody hates him, but he still nobody is paying him any respect. So in that great scene with Clarence, when he's offering him the world, when it comes to being the kind of the crime guy during the building of Delta City, that he's like, I'd be happy to help you, Richard.
Yeah. See, was his collaboration with Boddicker simply to like build up crime so that he would sell more Ed 209s?
Yes.
That was the whole.
Essentially what it would do is it would allow Dick Jones a more secure spot at the top of that thing, because the old man can't live forever.
Right. Well, you said that, yeah.
Ironically, the old man actually makes it into the second movie. Yeah. So, and was Grigg in The Last Starfighter. He's done a lot of stuff, actually. Oh, yeah.
Dan O'Hurley here, right?
Yeah. But Ronnie Cox is just so good at just thinking. He's got that kind of voice that really makes you feel like he genuinely thinks he's going to be able to get away with this.
Yeah.
Speaking of Clarence Boddicker, oh my God, Kurtwood Smith is so good and so menacing.
Yeah.
And you can't help but love the guy. Even though he's...
He fully 100% embraces the trope of the underling henchman who thinks he has way more power and authority than he actually realistically does.
Exactly. He's always going to need a bankroll. He's always going to need people to help him. But other than that, he's top of the feeding order.
Oh yeah, but let's face it. Without Dick, he is either dead or rotting in jail for many decades.
Oh yeah. But it's just the way that he does play it really cool, which is really kind of interesting for this type of character, especially the way that he presents himself on screen. He's just kind of a older balding guy with glasses, but he is very much in control of his gang. He's very much in control of the situations that he gets himself in.
But I love how, like, as soon as he realizes he's lost control of the situation, he turns yellow-bellied real quick.
Yeah.
Because as soon as like RoboCop's just throwing him around, he's like, "It's not me, it's Dick,
it's Dick Jones. I work for Dick Jones." But even still, like when he's out at that drug dealer.
Oh yeah.
And he's trying to like finish up that deal. He's like, "Come on, Tigers are playing tonight. Never miss a game." He's such a. It's like prime cheesy '80s villainy, and that's.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the one thing about this movie I could really attribute the label of. It's good cheese.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like. Ironically, this movie does not exist without Ronald Reagan.
Oh no, God no!
I mean, this movie is 100%. I see Reaganomics. I don't like it. I'm going to make a movie mocking it.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that all the companies are buying up. They're buying up the cities, and their cops are contracted to them, and that actually I feel like plays a bigger part in RoboCop 2. Which I recently watched as well and really kind of enjoyed. It's dumber, but it's a lot of fun. But yeah, the whole thing about like the cops, the cops work for OCP, but they shouldn't strike because they're cops, but they will strike because they're not getting paid. It's a dangerous thing, and it's they're seeing those cost cutting.
Yeah, and honestly, I saw that as a direct response to Reagan saying that air traffic controllers can't go on strike.
Exactly. Well, he was like, "Okay, you can either go back to work or you're all fired," and they fired them immediately. And I'm actually surprised that didn't happen with either one of these. I think it might have been a little too, on the nose if that were the case.
Right.
But yeah, it's like anytime anybody wants to bring up like, "Oh, our cities are in shambles," just show them this movie. The fact that you can use rocket launchers openly in the street.
Yeah, and have like almost like a 50 cal firing explosive bullets.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, okay, sure.
Well, they were getting military grade because who supplies the military? OCP.
Yeah. I did love the fact that Bodeker's henchman pulls up in the 6,000 sucks.
Oh yeah, the 6,000.
Like, hey, I got a car. I got a nicer car than you. Okay, yeah.
Boom.
So petty.
I want a new car with gets really shitty gas mileage. Oh man, I mean the commercials the commercials are half the fun.
The thing is, like, whenever I saw a commercial, I'm like, it kind of like whenever they showed like the news footage of like the nuclear war, civil war in South Africa, I'm like, I get it. You take these out, and the movie is at least 20 minutes shorter.
I go probably closer to 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, they didn't like what they did. I felt like they did a good job of kind of like being chapter breaks before the next act.
All right.
And I felt like that worked really, really well. I mean, the only other thing that we get that kind of resembles that is tied into the story is from Murphy's point of view, as they're putting RoboCop together.
Oh yeah, and the I'd buy for that for $1.
Oh my God! See, I mean that essentially is just it's the 1987 version of Honey, Where's My Pants?
Honey, where's my pants?
Right. Happy birthday! I'd buy that for $1. And it's just like, I feel like I never want to watch that show because I'm sure it would really suck, but just throwing that in there was just, it was great because it was this great little catchphrase that they could just throw in every once in a while. And every criminal is amused by that show. Yeah. Actually, no, not even just the criminals, but the old couple who own the convenience store.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, who must have been in there, what, like 70s?
Yeah.
Like, I'd buy that for $1. Ha ha! It's so funny.
I remember when TV was good.
And then they get held up.
Yeah, they get held up, but at least they didn't die. Like, in a lot of cases, that happened in RoboCop too.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, let's talk about Peter Weller, who is Murphy / RoboCop.
The thing I was probably most amazed by in this movie is that Peter Weller was a lot more interesting of a character and a lot better actor as a robot than he was as a human.
Yeah.
Because when you get him in the intro, it's like, you're kind of bland, buddy.
Well, that's the weird thing about it, too. I felt like there wasn't enough time given to Murphy and... Oh, Christ, I can't remember her name. Lewis.
Lewis, yeah.
Yeah. They didn't give enough time for Murphy and Lewis to actually create any kind of bond.
Yeah, I like their combo, but I was like, it kind of comes out of nowhere.
It comes out. I mean, they were signed as partners, and then within an hour, he's clinically dead. But she, it was like they had like this rapport, which you get with cops who've been partners for years. They didn't even get a day, and they're still like, okay, hey, I know that face.
Hey, you do that same gun flip that Murphy did. You must be.
Yeah, no other cop does that. I will say, though, you're talking about Peter Weller being a better actor as a robot. The one thing I did like was that the longer the movie goes, the more of his humanity he begins to reclaim.
Yes.
So instead of at the beginning when he's like, drop it, creep.
Yeah.
That was more robotic, but as he goes, especially after he's in hiding.
And
now, he's talking in full sentences that aren't as, they've still got that digitization, but they're not, they're not shorter sentences. He's talking about, asking about Murphy's wife and kid and.
Yeah. And honestly, the scene where he's walking through his old house, that is a genuinely nice, touching scene. Seeing, him remembering where he saw his son, where he saw his wife.
Yeah.
And just punching that auto salesman at the end.
Yeah. But the thing is that costume is just so goddamn cool.
Yeah.
It really is. I love you feel the weight of it. Every step you can feel the weight of it, and you can see how hard it is for even the robot to move around. And it's really cool. I love the design of it. I love the visor. I love that there is a little bit of they still leave the face in there.
Yeah. I love the visor so much that when he takes it off at the end and then just plays the rest of the movie without it, I'm like, can you put the visor back on?
He gets it back in RoboCop too, and gets a shiny blue paint job. And I'll say too, his first patrol as RoboCop, is so amazing.
Yeah,
he's got the keys. That theme by Basil Polidoris.
Oh, dun 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 dun.
Dun. Yeah, so good, and it fits that whole thing. And just having a RoboCop out on patrol, and stopping that rape and shooting that guy in the dick.
Through the dress.
I mean, this movie is over 30 years old. I still remember watching that and going, oh! I also remember...
Afterwards, she's just like looking down, it's like, oh.
But I also remember, too, like, when they edited it for TV, the convenience store, it was like, drop it, creep. And the guy's got the machine gun. He's like, fuck me, fuck me, fuck. It was just like, they edited it. This is back in the 80s when they would just like terribly dub things like, forget you. Like, what?
Truck you.
And then the thing with the guy who held the mayor hostage.
Yeah. It's like, I want a really nice car. How about the 6000 SUX? Yeah, I'll go for that. Yeah.
Great callback. the movie does do a really good job of doing callbacks, but not overutilizing them. I really enjoyed that. I love that they kept to a very strict set of rules, which made a lot of sense too, especially with he's got the 4 initiatives.
Yeah.
He's got the 3 commands that he abides by, then that 4th secret command, which just turns out he can't harm an officer of OCP.
Right, because Dick knew that if he started digging enough, it'd go right back to him. So he had to have that insurance policy.
Yep. And it worked out really well. I loved it because it was a bit of a surprise. Just we didn't have the internet back in '87,
right?
And you're just like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, overall,
I do love how at the end, Dick, you're fired. He's just thank you.
Yeah, unloads 3, just pit, and he just one of the worst falls. 1987 was a bad year for dudes being thrown from high areas because he's just like literally laying on a screen somewhere doing this,
and his arms decide to start growing. I'm like, dude, if he starts flapping hard enough, he's just gonna fly.
Right, but 1987 was also the year of the Untouchables, when when Ness throws Frank Nitti off the thing, but it was done from a weird close-up angle.
Yeah.
I still think to this day the greatest, being thrown from a great height was Die Hard.
Yeah.
That look on Hans's face.
I don't believe you did that.
But yeah, I mean, but it was kind of it was satisfying. I mean, the movie in itself, there's a lot of flaws that you can point out a lot of flaws, but overall, again, with a bucket of popcorn and a soda in your hand, overall, just a satisfying movie going experience.
I mean, it's kind of ironic given the franchise that did Spawn, but just watching it, all I was thinking was, this looks like a really high budget, TV pilot to a ongoing series.
Yeah.
Especially how it ends with, my name's Murphy, and it's RoboCop. Coming next September.
Yeah. Ironically, there was a RoboCop TV show as well as an animated RoboCop.
I remember watching that live action show, actually. Yeah. I watched it pretty regularly on, I believe it got reruns on Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I got reruns on Sci-Fi. But they had the cartoon. They marketed it for kids, this hyper-violent political action movie.
Yeah, much like RoboCop and the Force of Freedom.
Hey, I'm just happy he wasn't the chaperone for some kid's swim team. So. Teach them lessons at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, my guess is this movie absolutely destroyed on video and HBO.
Oh, I remember that too, because I was in high school when this movie came out, that this was one of those movies that, you'd go see it in the theater. Not many people saw it. Not many of my friends saw it in the theater, even though it was a fairly sizable hit.
Yeah.
If you want to look up those numbers.
I actually got them right here. It's $53.4 million on a budget of 13. So that's it's not a blow your mind hit, but it's a decent hit.
Right, considering 1987 was kind of a dog year for. It's weird. We call it a dog year for blockbusters, but when you think about the movies that were released in 1987, there's a bunch of movies in 1987.
Oh well, now you've piqued my interest.
Yeah, but this was definitely the kind of movie where it's like, oh, RoboCop's on VHS. Let's go to Video Signals and rent this movie. Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen RoboCop? Oh, you gotta watch RoboCop.
Yeah, there's blood on. I believe in a couple of scenes you can see boobs.
One, and that's interesting. That that's a Verhoeven staple of the co-ed work and shower space, because that the locker room And RoboCop was co-ed. The same thing happened in Starship Troopers. They had the co-ed shower.
Well, I got the top 10 movies of 1987.
All right.
Number 1, Three Men and a Baby.
Don't get it.
It was fine. It wasn't number 1, but it was fine.
Yeah.
Fatal Attraction, number 2.
Okay.
Number 3, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Number 4, Good Morning Vietnam. Number 5, Moonstruck. 6, The Untouchables. 7, The Secret of My Success. 8, Stakeout. 9, Lethal Weapon. And 10, The Witches of Eastwick.
That's really, I mean, seriously. I mean, and you think about the stuff that was released in the summer.
Mm.
I mean, for summer blockbusters, the Lethal Weapon, by the way, was released in February.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was released early.
Inner Space was 87.
Yeah, Inner Space was 87. It's a fantastic movie. The Lost Boys was released in 1987.
Full Metal Jacket. Oh, big one here. Jaws the Revenge.
We've done movies of 1987 before.
Oh, even better. Superman 4.
Oh, jeez. Coming soon to this very space. But it just, I mean, the thing with RoboCop is that it's lightning in a bottle for a movie that, again, is just, it's good cheese. You can tell where the money went and where they had to cut corners. You know, there really are no gigantic name actors in this. I mean, for God's sakes, Peter Weller was at that point best known for Buckaroo Banzai, a movie which nobody saw in the theater.
No.
And even still, I feel like it got a very delayed response when it came out on home video. Nancy Allen at that point was better known as Brian De Palma's wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was also in a movie called Dressed to Kill, which is actually really good.
Yeah, I mean, Kurtwood Smith was, I mean, he really wasn't in much before this one.
Right. I mean, and Ronnie Cox might have been the biggest star because he was in Deliverance. That was 14 years before.
And, I mean, I've only seen him in a few things, but I really like Miguel Ferreira.
I do too. I do, yeah. I like him a lot and stuff. And I loved him in Hot Shots Part 2, only because he's got one of the best lines in the entire movie. War! It's fantastic.
He plays a really excellent, like, kind of foil to Ronnie Cox. Like, he's still an asshole executive, but he's not kind of to that Ronnie Cox's level.
Right. No, he's out for himself. He's definitely not a good guy in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But, you know, he's just there to, you know, make more money so he can buy more Coke, so he can make more money so he can buy more Coke. But, I do love Johnson. Johnson shows up in both movies.
Oh, Felton Perry's character?
Yeah.
I like him, but I'm like, why are you in this movie? He
plays a bigger part in the second one, but he's just kind of great as just kind of being like kind of the last man standing.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah. But I really enjoy this movie. I'm glad that you finally watched it kind of from beginning to end.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of this movie, not all of it, but I've seen a lot of it before. But this was the first time I've actually just sat down and just watched it start to finish.
Yeah.
It's a fun, like, almost a big budget sci-fi movie when sci-fi movies were actually decent. Like, a big budget early 2000s sci-fi channel movie.
Yeah,
that's what this was.
It would have killed. I mean, you throw a little CG in there, and it would have killed. I mean, the problem is that remake was horse shit.
Never seen it.
I've only seen it once, and I was insulted by every frame that I saw of it. So,
okay.
But yeah, so I'm glad that you like that one. So, Mike and I decided we're going to do a little bit of a trade here on the Better That Has Any Right to Be. Mike had never really seen RoboCop to form an opinion, so he's seeing that. He watched that. Next week, we are going to cover 1999's Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, I love this one so much.
And I will see if I have had it with these motherfucking sharks on this motherfucking sub.
Aquabase.
I'm not redoing that. So we do want to know, what were your thoughts on RoboCop? This is a cult classic in so many ways. So we'd love to know your thoughts. Leave a polite comment below. If you're new to the channel, hi. You probably are like, I'm thinking about RoboCop, and you typed it in like Geek Salad. Worth a look. It's only a half hour long. So we do this. Every week. So hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up as well, because we do this for everything. And Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcast. Stitcher, Spotify. I keep saying Stitcher. I got to stop doing that. Stitcher doesn't exist anymore. Spotify, iTunes.
Hopefully it does for another like 2 weeks or so.
What's the point? What? I'm pulling the plug right now. We can save it. We can make it bigger, faster, stronger.
Wait. We can save the arm. We can save the arm. What? No. Why?
I said full body prosthesis. Lose the arm. I will say one thing, and this is just, where my mind always goes to, especially like what 15-year-old Andy was thinking about this movie when it came out. I was like, that scientist chick is really hot.
She really was. Especially when
big glasses, it was just like,
And really drunk on New Year's and gave RoboCop a big old kiss.
15-year-old Andy had a type. So anyway, yeah. So you can check out our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We should have a new episode coming up in the next week or two where we redo some films that did not make an impact on the initial box office and seeing if we can improve on those. So you can check that out when that becomes available. Also, if you want to follow us on the socials, we are on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast, and we are at Geek Salad Radio on Blue Sky, on Threads, and on Twitter. So for God's sakes, follow us, especially on Blue Sky. I want to get more interactions with Blue Sky. So
don't you have to be invited to be on Blue Sky?
I'm fairly certain we've got a viewer who might be able to hook you up.
I mean,
I don't think I've got enough clout to invite you. So
well, I mean,
I haven't been given any invite codes. I would totally do it.
I barely use Twitter, so I mean,
there you go. So anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.